So, you actually care about what random video game characters eat or what their servants would feed them. That's like a really weird thing to care about. Is what I told myself yesterday, so obviously I had to make a video about it. So this video will go over what I am led to believe or kind of thought Mario and Bowser would force their servants to serve them for dinners. We might run into some cannibalism here, but we'll talk about that later. So first we have Mario. In my mind, Mario never cooks for himself. Even in the movie when he's supposedly 25, we have lovely Mama Mario who is cooking him and Luigi dinner. I mean, there's only one scene of that, but I feel like it's kind of, you're supposed to believe that she cooks him dinner every night. There's nothing wrong with that. It just supports my theory. So when I was thinking of these dinners are taking place after he saved Princess Peach and he's chilling in his big castle. I always imagine the N64 castle. So the other question is, who will be serving him food? My personal opinion is that they would make Toad do it, specifically because there is a Chef Toad character and he's really cute, and because at Mario World and Universal Studios that they just came out with, they have a Toadstool cafe, and from what I've seen there's a Chef Toad video and he's happily making all these dishes for everybody in the restaurant. So I think it's safe to say that Toad knows what he's doing, and he's obviously happy to do it because Mario saved him from all of Bowser's evil minions, so he's forever in debt to him. And look at his face. He's obviously very excited to be making food. So it's a win-win situation and Mario never has to cook again. So now to the main part of this video, what I think Mario would eat for dinner in this 3-course main, side, and dessert dish. Okay, number one up, it's a meatloaf. I'm just gonna give you a moment to take that in and prepare yourself for what else this video will probably entail. Okay, explanation before you get any crazy ideas about Mario eating himself. This is just him eating all of the things that makes him Mario. So he can confidently say, it's a me every day because he is eating what makes him him. So basically I see this as his confidence in meatloaf form. We all know the most defining things about Mario are his hat, mustache, and huge nose, which we never see any nose holes in. So maybe that's why it's so big. He's just holding it all in and there's no way for his sneezes to escape. Anyway, also the two most popular of his powers are the invisibility stars and power-up mushroom. The star is also a huge staple for the Super Mario 64 because you have to collect literally 120 stars to fully beat the game. So the stars and mushrooms are the most important things he could eat because they're so iconic to who he is. I don't know if he eats this every night, but I could see him needing to have some mustache hairs, threads of his hat, and some skin flakes off of his nose, star powder, and mushrooms to keep him being his full self. Okay, I guess this meal is a little weird, but to be the savior of the world and upkeep your image to the world, I can see him going through these tactics for self-preservation, because that's a lot of pressure. Okay, number 2 up, we have Bowser fruit. Now I have to say that yes, this is just dragon fruit with Bowser colors switched out of it, but in Mario's world, these are actually fruit that has grown from Bowser. So let me explain. When Bowser was finally defeated, they buried his bones in the backyard of the N64 castle and didn't expect anything of it. Then one day, a tree started to grow and they didn't chop it down because it was cute. After a while, this weird Bowser-colored fruit began to form. Mario decided to harvest it and now eats it for dinner every day. So yes, basically he's eating the remains of his fallen enemy, a common practice, I believe. So no, it isn't weird in my head. But this fruit, you can only eat the center part and you have to very carefully cut it. So Toad's the one preparing this. He's like the master chef. He's very carefully cutting it because orange spikes that are on there are actually flaming hot, but they're crunchy for those who can stomach them. Cheetos, please don't sue me. No one in the Mushroom Kingdom can probably eat them, but Anyone in Bowser's Kingdom could. So Mario usually only actually sees the fruit that is inside of this Bowser fruit. But basically, this also infuses Mario's confidence and makes him the man he is because he can remind himself of his purpose after he has nothing to do because he already fulfilled his purpose. Okay, 3 up is his dessert, and we have peach pie. Now personally, I believe this is like Peach's secret recipe that she made out of love for Mario, but I think she's only taught it to Chef Toad, and Chef Toad actually makes it because Peach is obviously the princess or queen now, I guess, in this world that I'm talking about, and she has a lot of things to do, and cooking probably isn't a top priority on her list. As far as ingredients go in this one, I think there's probably peaches. That's basically how far I got after I did the art for it, which I think is pretty cool. But I think the name and picture basically speaks for itself. Okay, that's all for Mario. Basically, he just eats to gain confidence and keep all of his traditions up, or everything that makes him Mario. So if he ever had to change his life or the villain that he faces, I guess he'll just have to lose his whole self-identity first and go into a life crisis and change all his meals. But he's Mario, so he'll probably be fine. Okay, now onto our lovely King Bowser's feast. Now, for as who makes his dinner, I think it's literally whoever he's probably most mad at that day. Which, not to be a Debbie Downer, but I imagine most of the time it's his own son, Bowser Jr. There's a lot of reasons for this, but the main one I thought of was Bowser's Fury game. Bowser Jr. is literally helping Mario throughout a lot of the game to defeat his dad. I mean, Bowser Jr. is just worried about his dad because his dad's being all big and scary, but I imagine that Bowser sees this as betrayal, and that probably hits him really hard. And that Bowser Jr. has always failed to defeat Mario, just like Bowser has, but I guess Bowser probably expects more of his son than he does of himself, so he decides that cooking dinner can either teach him to work harder or to give him more motivation to make his father proud. Both which are obviously not amazing parenting techniques, but also Bowser Jr. literally has a bib on him at all times, which I see a mini apron, and he's in his little airship at all times, which I imagine that's because he always needs to find a way to get back to his home quickly so he can take chicken out of the freezer and let it thaw so he can make a proper dinner for his father. Okay, so now that we know Bowser Jr. is cooking all of these dinners for him, number 1 up for Bowser is we have Koopa dry bone steak. And yes, in my head, this one is cannibalism, but I think for Bowser, that's probably normal. I wouldn't really question that. So there's Koopas, cute, adorable little dancing Koopas. Then there's dry bones, the skeleton of Koopas. So I'm sure this has been asked before, but how do dry bone Koopas come to be? Well, the only 2 explanations that I can think of is either 1, obviously after Mario kills them, Bowser scraps their remains and turns them into dry bones because he doesn't have the money or resources to pay for more minions. And number 2 is that the alive Koopas just look too happy, they dance to music, so that's why Bowser's less fond of them. Plus, he's king over the Koopas, so they pretty much have to bend to his every will. Which is why he eats this steak, and the bones are then used to rebuild dry bones, which is honestly a good use of resources for him and a huge money saver. But I'm sure everybody else sees this as morally wrong, but unfortunately nobody can question Bowser. Number 2 up for Bowser is his side dish, which is pepper jack filled bomb arms. This picture is based off of a cheese filled roll, but obviously I changed the outside to resemble a bomb and theorized it would be filled with pepper jack's cheese because it's gumba be spicy. Please let me know if that was awful in the comments because I want to have a reason to never make that joke again. I think this side is interesting because Bowser's mouth is so big and fire-filled, so I thought he'd probably just pop these in and then he just gets an explosion of pepper jack cheese in his mouth. I imagine he's the only one that can eat these bombs, and since the bombs self-destruct anyway, it's probably a privilege for them to be eaten by King Bowser. Maybe there's a drawing as to which bomb will have the honor that day, and it's a super coveted honor for them. Number 3 for Bowser's dessert is the fire roasted Goomba Mallow. And you guessed it, The way they fire burn this is by holding it over the burning cremation of all of the dry bone Koopas after they've served their 100-year debt to King Bowser. Yeah, basically it's a Goomba in the shape of a marshmallow. I think these are probably a very overpopulated species, and how Bowser is able to control their reproduction is by fire roasting them for his dessert. And so I looked at Bowser's weight, and it said he's around 1,600 pounds, which is like 10 times what I weigh. And so I could probably eat like 3 to 4 marshmallows a day. I mean, obviously more if I was like craving marshmallows. But if we use those calculations, then Bowser would be eating around 35 Goomba Mallows for his dessert daily, which comes out to 12,775 a year. That's if he eats them daily. So even just half of that would be like 6,000. And so basically, I think he sees this as population control, because if he didn't eat them, the whole Mushroom Kingdom would just be overrun by Goombas. So it seems like he's actually probably doing everybody in the whole kingdom a service by eating these. Okay, so that's all that I have to say on this pressing matter that I'm sure you were in deep thought about as you woke up this morning. I'm hoping to make more commentary on either more Mario characters' diets or some of my other favorite video game characters. So stay tuned for more, and thanks for watching. Bye.